Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. It Takes Courage. With me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. I'm an entrepreneur, a mom, a TEDx curator for TEDx Huntington Beach, and I'm also the host for the show. And today, I have a very, very special guest with me, Lisa Pizig, who's a good friend of mine, and we're going to be talking about making dreams happen even when you're not 5 years old, making dreams happen at 30 years old, at 40s, at your 50s. It doesn't stop to having your dream happen. And Lisa, she's an entrepreneur, a coach, and also an off-Broadway playwright and actor. So Lisa, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And Lisa has her own one woman show, and it is called Too Big for Her Britches, one woman show. And I think in August, in a couple of months, she is
Yes.
going to be go on a road tour to Scotland and be performing for her show, which is one of her dreams. So, Lisa, let's talk about the title, Too Big for Her Britches. Because in the beginning, I was like, what is britches? What is the britches? So, how did you come up with the title of the show, like Too Big for the Britches? And what's britches, first and foremost?
Yeah. Britches, the old world is literally meaning your pants. Like, don't be too big for your pants. But it's a slang term or a phrase that's used to really say, don't get a big head, don't have a big ego, don't be too big. And I think that's a message that especially women hear all throughout their life. Don't be too loud, don't be too bossy. We're too short, we're too fat, we're too big, we're too bossy, we're too loud, we're too whatever label that sometimes well-intentioned people put on us and not well-intentioned people put on us, and we get small. We stop using our voice, we stop having courage, we stop going after our dreams. We put these labels on ourselves that we're too old, not smart enough. And I really wanted that phrase to connect with someone as that awareness of, I've done that to myself. I've allowed this limiting belief stop me from achieving something that I want. How do I go on this journey watching the main character, Luna, who's me in the play? It's autobiographical, it comes from my own personal story. I wanted the listener to say, if she can do it, or the viewer to say, if she can do it, so can I. She had these labels put upon her because that was something that was said to me a lot in my life from various people. And it made me kind of give up and put those dreams on a shelf and say, that's just not for me. That's just not possible for me. And that's the farthest thing from the truth.
Absolutely. And for I've got like for viewers who are watching, go ahead and drop your comments. Go ahead and ask Lisa a question. We're gonna come back to that in a moment and let us know the best way to connect with us is through Facebook or social media or YouTube, but wherever, stay tuned, just connect with us because this is gonna be an incredible talk. And Lisa was saying, it is the label that we put on ourselves, right? Because like often you start like you have a dream and you have to start it early. That's what the society tells us. You have to start when you're 5 years old, 6 years old. I mean, Lisa and I, we're just above our 20s, right, Lisa?
That's
So
right.
we're
That's
just
exactly
above,
right.
we're just above our 20s. We both are married. We both have kids. So it is totally unconventional for us to go for our dreams because everything has to do with the kids, everything has to do with the husbands. So this is kind of like key in the pivotal moment of any woman or any man or any children that are watching, that it's not, there never is a stopping point where you can go for your dreams. Like too big for your britches. Like if you can't fit in your pants, get another pants, right? The one that's gonna fit you the most. It's either it's too small or it's too big, but it's not the end of the world. There's so many pants out there that the sparkly ones, the stripes ones, the pattern, the plain ones, whatever that is, that you still can wear. So it's not how do you say, Lisa? It's not just that one pants, right? That's just if it doesn't fit, it is the end of the world. And talking about the label that people put on you, and then you also talked about how you then choose to absorb that label or embrace that label for yourself. And let's talk about how, first, why do we allow that to happen? And second, what's going to make us like see that
Mm.
actually that is not true, or that's another perception that we can choose to believe in?
Yeah, we allow it to happen because I think we're afraid. We're afraid of failure, especially as you were talking about in our 20s and our 30s and our 40s. I think as adults, we have a hard time learning new things because we want to be good at everything. We've achieved success in our life. So we think that success then, I'm a great mom. So then I should be great if I decide to write a book. I'm a great speaker. So I should be great if I decide to write a TED talk. We have this other success in our life that makes us believe that it's hard or that's going to be easy to achieve our dreams when in reality that's not the truth. So I think we're afraid of failure. We're afraid of starting over because we remember how hard and how long it took us to have the things we achieve in our life. And sometimes it's like you're walking on a road by yourself in the beginning. When you're going and doing something that maybe you haven't seen other people do, maybe nobody in your friend circle, nobody in your family, nobody around you, you don't have a model of success to follow. You, as an adult learner or later in life, as a trailblazer, have to go and blaze your own trail. And it's so much easier to just say, oh, they did it that way, I'm going to do it like that. That doesn't always work. And when we can't follow that mold or we don't have that pattern, you've got to go do it yourself. And I think we let the fear take us out. The fear, again, of those labels. Well, if I fail, then it's proof that I'm dumb. If I fail, then it's proof that I'm not good enough. If I fail, then it's proof that whatever internal fear, if I fail, then maybe I was too bossy, maybe I was too big, maybe I was too loud, then it's true. And we create this wrong story that loops over and over and over again. So it's about creating a new pathway. It's about creating a new story. It's about giving yourself the grace to say, I just have to get better every single day, because it does get better when we stick with it. I know you had mentioned before about how do we do 10,000 hours and I got to put in all this time. And again, that's such an overwhelming thought. Just get better every single day and you'll be on the right path. So I think that's why it's the fear. It's just the fear of what we think is an irrational truth. It's not true, but we believe it
Yeah,
and it holds us back.
yeah, absolutely. And it's just the focus of getting better and better. And then there's this saying that success leaves clues that you just have to follow them. But then I'm thinking, but I don't want to follow that way. I have my own way, or I have my own idea. Yes, it gives a pathway what other people have done. We definitely can reflect. We
Right.
definitely can analyze. We definitely can rehash things. But you said, what about creating your own stories? What about trailblazing a different path? Because I can't walk or sing the way Lisa does. Like no, like we both are not Mariah Carey, in case everybody hasn't noticed. But
Yeah.
we have our own God-given unique abilities that are unique to us. So I think the saying that success leaves clues, it has truth up to an extent. But I also feel that it's also important for us to put our own take, our own roots, our own culture, our own belief, however that we want to do things. And, like, for example, Lisa, like you started off, I think, like 2 years ago when you had this vision, right?
We
Like you
did.
made a declaration that
Yes.
you've always loved theater, you've always
Yes.
loved that. But you made a declaration like 2 years ago, if I remember correctly, or maybe just a little bit more, plus minus that,
Yep.
that you're going to create a one woman show, a off Broadway one woman show. But you haven't had the theater training.
Nope.
the 10,000 hours, 15,000 hours theater training. You haven't had the voice training, the 10,000 hours, 15,000 hours of the voice training. So let's talk about the inspiration behind doing it, even though you're basically like way far off. Like, you're like, everybody else is like, 10,000 steps further, but you're kind of like, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm giving myself a year. So I just want to talk your thought process behind it, what
Mm.
inspired you, and what just made you want to do it.
Yeah, I wrote this play in pandemic. I started writing when the world was shutting down, when the world was getting smaller, when the world was, getting less and less and less. We were confined to our homes. We were not out, which is a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because I wasn't getting distracted by other people and other things. And I thought I'm going to go on this inward journey. And I think sometimes when, all heck breaks loose, you start to kind of go, well, what am I actually doing here? And when the world does open back up, what am I going back to? And I really started to think about in my life, having been a nurse and then, in marketing and just all the other hats that I wear. I realized that I'm doing great in all those areas, but in my own self expression, my own sense of freedom, my own heart, my own drive, I wasn't doing anything for me. As you said, as a woman, as a mom, kids' dreams, check. Husband's dreams, check. Clients' dreams, check. Where was I in the equation? So that's kind of the journey that I went on throughout pandemic. And when we had that challenge to make the declaration, I was like, I'm not going to make it about other people. I'm going to make it about me, because regret can be such a wake-up call. We assume that tomorrow is given. We assume we're going to get another chance. We assume we're going to get another day or another month or another year. And that doesn't happen. And I didn't want to get to the end of my life and say, God, I wish I would have done that. And now it's too late. Because you're right. The only time it is too late is literally when you are on your deathbed and your imminent last moments are near. And I didn't want to be on my deathbed and say, gosh, I wish I would have done that. So that was the time. I thought, if I have this time or I'm not going anywhere and I'm not external, I'm going to focus on this dream. But the first thing is I was like, I need to get help, because you're right. I had never sang. I had never written. I'd never been a playwright. I'd never written a play. I'd never written a song. I had never sang. I had never acted. It could not have been the farthest thing of my skill set that I didn't have it. So I thought, okay, instead of trying to figure it out myself, I got to go to the experts. I got to go find people that this is what they do. And it's their dream to bring someone like my dream into existence. Because that's what I was doing for everybody else. I was bringing everybody else's dreams in existence. I flipped it and went, okay, I'm the client. Who can help me bring this dream into existence? And yeah, it was just, I knew if I didn't do it then, it was almost now or never. Because when the world opened back up, I was going to go right back into all my responsibilities and all my things. And it's easy when you're busy to get distracted. And that was the time where I said,
Yeah.
now or never. I'm doing it now. I'm leaving a legacy that I'm proud of.
That's so cool when you mentioned that, you're just going to do something for yourself, right? Just it literally is like having another baby, because
Yeah.
of, on your deathbed, we're not going to regret like, oh, I didn't make that $10,000 deal or that 50,000 or $1 million deal. And because I remember like, one of the things that when my grandma mommy passed away, the thing that I regretted was that I didn't have that last phone call with her,
Yeah.
because I was, because she was at a state where I have never seen her like that before. She's a very formidable, powerful woman, but seeing her being so fragile, I couldn't handle it. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna call mommy now. I'm gonna call mommy later. And that was, the phone call that I regret because I didn't, keep that in. It wasn't about, oh yeah, this thing coming up or this thing with Jack Canfield or with Oprah. It wasn't even that, right? It was that one phone call and doing something for yourself, just for you, like your dream, your purpose, because a lot of the moms that I see, they're all about their kids and their husband. Absolutely, like our kids and our husband are important to us, but to the point of like, it is wrong to go for your dreams, or we can't do this, we can't travel, we can't have a dream, we can this. It's all about the kids, and then when the kids leave home,
Yeah.
20 years on, you what is there left? And then so I
Yeah.
want to talk about, because you have Oliver. So what have you seen, like the things with Oliver and with Eric, Lisa's husband? What
Yeah.
have you seen in them that perhaps inspire them or call them to something from you pursuing your dreams?
Yeah, it's that quote where we say we would die for our children.
Yeah.
I'm I yes, I would die for my children and my husband, but would you live for them? Would you live for them? Would you show them what it's like to live? And that Oliver and Eric come to all my shows, they come to all my speaking engagements, like anything that I'm out and doing. And it's interesting because theater is so subjective, right? So if
Mhm.
you base your success on what other people think about you, you're going to be hugely unfulfilled, because someone, just like any book or TV or show or movie or interview, some people love it, some people hate it, and it's neither wrong and it's neither right. Like it's both, right? Our opinion is, that's art. Our experience and our opinion of it is true and unique to our own. So I had this interesting experience where Oliver had to give his very first speech at school. This was like just a few months ago. And they were only taking the top two out of the like 30 in his class. And he worked so hard on this thing and he poured his heart and soul into it. And he was like, Mom, other kids' moms wrote it for them. And he's like, I don't want you to write it. Like, I want to do it all myself. And I'm like, absolutely. Let's see what we can do. Go ahead, do it. And, I'll help you. I'll take a look at it and give you advice. And I didn't edit much. I let him do his thing and it was beautiful, which was hard for me because I was like, oh, I could change this. I could rewrite this. I could fix this. We could say that. I was like, not my experience. This is his experience. He didn't make it. He didn't make it in the top two. And we were driving home in the car from school. And I said, how do you, I'm really proud of you, buddy. I'm really proud that you did it. You saw it through. You got up there. How do you feel about the feedback that they gave you? And he's like, yeah, she was right. I could get a little bit more confident in my voice. And he goes, but Mom, what the most important thing to me is how I feel about myself. He said, I don't care what other people think about me. How I feel about me is the most important thing. And if I'm proud of myself is the most important thing. And I was like, you're 100% right, buddy. And I think that's been one of the biggest lessons, is that he sees Mom still standing in the good, in the bad. He sees Mom showing up when there's one person in the audience, when there's 500 people in the audience. He sees Mom showing up after that bad review. I haven't had any bad reviews. I shouldn't say that. After a, good and bad review, after a glowing, glaring, raving review, it's not going to stop me. And I think that's the biggest lesson that he's learning, is that you have to stay true to yourself, and the words that you speak to yourself and the self-expression and the self-confidence that you grow from yourself internally is the most important thing. Because if you're, especially in the creative world, if you are in anything outward facing, you won't survive if you base it on the likes and the money and the fame and the external things. You'll get burnt out because that true meaning isn't from here. So that's been one of the coolest things. And then Eric doesn't really like to speak. He likes to be behind the scenes. But I've noticed him go on podcasts and start to share his story. And I think it's that quiet, well, if she did it and she survived, I can do it and I can
Yeah,
survive, right?
absolutely. And I think like this little things, it has this, I call it the rippling effect, right? That we don't
Yeah.
realize. The little things that we do. Sometimes, look, rippling effects doesn't happen immediately. It rarely does, even any effects. But over time, when you start to see and notice things, if you meet Lisa and Eric, I've met them, and Lisa is the more um, more friendly, reaching out to people, and Eric is, the chilled out. But I've seen Eric come into our rooms, like Laura's rooms, and we had a bit of gathering, putting on a face mask.
Great.
It was, you wouldn't, but like, we had an event, and then after that, we just want to chill out, right? Because sometimes event is a lot for you to take in.
Yeah.
And then Lisa came in, was like, what in the world is going on? Everybody was like face masking. And the corner there was an Ayurvedic
Yeah.
and all the things. But like them being able, both Eric and Oliver being able to open up, right? To like new
Yes.
experiences, new people. Like I've never met Eric before, Eric or Oliver. Yes, I've seen them on social. The same with Lisa. I've seen them on social media, and I've seen them on the mastermind group that we're a part of, but not in person. So it just creates that opening. But like I feel like it's so important. I just wanted to highlight for the audience that are listening. I wanted to kind of like highlight this for you because what Oliver said, that the most important thing is that I'm proud of myself. So for those audience are watching, like, are you proud of yourself, of what you do, or are you basing how you are proud of your success based on the metrics of what people say about you? That's gonna be the make or break. As I remember, Rihanna, like she gave a
Yeah.
halftime Super Bowl performance.
Yeah.
She was 8 months pregnant, 9 months pregnant, and she performed on a Super Bowl. If you don't know, she probably before on the show, she probably invested thousands of hours or hundreds of hours preparing, rehearsing for the show. And any woman knows when you're pregnant, the last thing you want to do is do anything. It's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Um, it's so uncomfortable being pregnant and you're big. You have to pee every 10 minutes. It's just so uncomfortable. But she received quite a lot of feedback
Yep.
for her performance. And I'm like, are these people like, do you not see the courage, how incredible she is to show up at that? And so, Lisa, because you talk about receiving feedback, right?
Yeah.
So if we stay true to ourselves and proud of who we are, can we still move forward despite all the negative or how unconstructive feedback that you receive? Because at the end of the day, we all have a heart.
Yes.
So, how important it is to listen to those constructive feedback versus kind of having your own self reflection on what
Mm-hmm.
works, what doesn't work, and then moving on from there.
Yeah. Everything for me goes back to the service of the story or the service of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because when I get criticism, good or bad, that's the measuring stick that I hold it up to. I don't go, is this criticism of me? Are they criticizing Lisa Pizik? Are they loving Lisa Pizik? It's not about me. Even though we just got done saying I did this for me and it was my story and it was my thing, it is, but it's also about the vehicle and the message and the mission of why you're doing what you're doing. So when I get negative criticism, I look at it and go, is this going to make the play better? Is this going to make the story better? Is this going to make the character better? Yes or no? If somebody loved something, great. Then that probably is the way that it's going to stay. That resonated. That got great feedback. So I take the personal side out of it. I disassociate a bit or I separate a bit. and say, is this feedback going to be in service of the story, in service of the play, in service of the product, in service of the speech, whatever it is? That's how I measure it, as opposed to, oh, they said I was boring, or they said I was confusing, or they said I was. No. Maybe that part of the story, let's look at that part of the play, that part of the sales copy, that part of the whatever, that part of the speech, whatever it is. I get curious instead of owning it and wearing it and taking it on. I go, is there truth to this? Could this make the story, the character, the part better? If I were to take their feedback and change it, would that be in service of the message and the mission that I'm trying to put out here? So it's that leading with curiosity and seeing where you land is really the key. Now, we are human, and I also don't want to paint a rosy picture that when you get negative feedback, criticism, someone tells you they don't like it, that wasn't my cup of tea. Of course you're going to feel like, I've cried, I've gotten angry, I've been ticked, but I don't stay there. I let myself have that human emotion of anger, grief, sadness, happiness, joy, whatever it is, for 30 seconds, a minute, and then I get curious. So I don't think we push the feelings away. We are human in a human experience. But that's not the biggest lesson that you take from that. It's the curiosity, and then what you do with it based on that curiosity is where, I think about, I want to succeed probably 85% of the time, because that last 15% is really where I learn. I learn about where I can grow. I learn about how I can get more clear. If you win everything and you get selected for everything, and everybody loves you, what do you learn from that? Are you really taking risks, right? Are you really taking risks if you're winning all the time and everybody loves you?
Absolutely. And you got to have the space, right, for you to grow and expansion and going deeper into things. So let's take a look at a little bit of video of Lisa's Too Big for Her Britches production.
Too Big for Her Britches is a story about Luna, who is navigating how to love herself. And it's for any woman who's ever been told they're too much. They're too big, or they're too small, they're too strong, they're too weak, they're too bossy. Any of those labels that have been put on us that we start to believe.
Hard to please, anything to be free, even if it hurts me. I don't know what I believe.
Done a theater piece before, to being short of a master of it. How can you lift your spirit and fill your spirit to be able to be loved by yourself, so that you can be loved by others?
All I've been trying to do is help, and she's been ruining it. Come, sit on the yoga mat with me and smell the incense.
Is there someone out there who's better?
Out in here, eh?
It's captivating no matter what it is. You can't take your eyes off it, and I felt so safe watching Lisa perform. I can't wait to see this on Broadway.
Loving me with all your heart.
That is just so inspiring, Lisa, to see, you performing, to see you, even when, you're way past 20, and then, way, a little bit way past 30.
I am. I'm 41. So I thought you were going to say way past 40. I'm like, wait.
Oh my God, to see that and then having to to perform, not just like acting it, but actually um singing the song. And you wrote the song together with Drew Lawrence, who was
Did.
fantastic producer and fantastic singer songwriter. So before we wrap up, I just want to touch base about that part of you. Like, did you have a vision of you acting and singing, or did that kind of like come, together naturally? And, give us the tips of like, when you're writing that song as part of the storytelling, being in again, is this song being of service to the story? Is this song taking care of the audience or delivering a particular message that is part of the story? So talk
Yeah.
us through about that process of singing, songwriting, because it's a whole new animal for you and for others as well.
It is. I originally wrote my first draft and my first script with no music. It was not a musical because I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared to even do this in the get go. And then I'm going to get up and sing in front of people now. Oh my God, no. So I was kind of playing a little bit small and taking myself out. I had thought of it being a musical. And then I quickly was like, oh God, dear God, no, not going to happen. Like, let me just write the first thing without it. But then I started to find these moments in the play where I couldn't get it right in my brain. Like I was writing and rewriting and trashing it and performing it for people because I was in these little small groups, in our community, and we were all writing our shows, similar to what we're doing with our TED Talk. We're in these little communities and we're just, going back and forth. And I was like, God, how did that land for you? And they're like, oh, you're not there yet. And I'm like, I know, I don't feel like I'm there yet. And then I started to go, remember that fear that takes us out, the road that's not traveled. Well, curiosity, what if I explore how to put music in this, in those places where I feel like it's not clicking? The reason why it wasn't clicking is because it was supposed to be a song. It wasn't supposed to be. That's what Spirit, the universe, was trying to use me for, was to write music and put music here. And I thought as a songwriter, you had to be so smart and so catchy and so poetic and so artistic. I was like, my brain doesn't write like that. And when I met Drew, he's like, absolutely not. He's like, songwriting is just speaking. The way you would speak to somebody are the lyrics that you say. So that one song where I said, who do you think you are, loving me with all your heart? When we were talking about meeting Eric, and he almost came out of nowhere. We met, on a holiday in the Dominican. He had this huge heart. I'd never experienced that before. And I said to Drew, I was like, I love this guy, but like, who do you think you are? Like, I was good before I met you. I wasn't planning to move my life to Canada. I wasn't planning on falling head over heels for you. Like, who do you think you are, loving me that way? You rocked my whole world. And Drew's like, that's the lyric. Who do you think you are, loving me with all your heart? So it was very cool to see how just your regular conversation and the phrases and the words that we say to each other, those are the lyrics. And a lot of times, almost every time, I have 11 songs in the play. It's like an inner monologue. So it's Luna, the main character's inner monologue. So that first song we heard, if I was smaller, like the models I see wearing it so perfectly, would I be wanted? So it's all about Luna just wanting love. And if she's thinking if she's smaller and she's skinny and she's pretty and she's popular, she'll get the love from her family and her friends and won't be bullied. So it's like this inner I had someone say to me, that song is like my 14-year-old diary. If you were to look at the journal entry in my diary, that's what your song was when I was 12, 13, 14. So it's these inner monologues. My mom has a song. My dad has a song. It's just these inner monologues of seeing someone's point of view and giving words. It's interesting because the songs give the words to the character when they couldn't speak. It's that inner monologue. The songs for me, when I wrote them, gave the words to me when I couldn't get it right on the page. It was a song. And when these characters are struggling through conflict and they can't seem to get it right, that's what these songs are in the play. And I think that's very real. I don't know what the statistic is, how many thoughts we have a day. It's like in the hundreds of thousands. But that's what we do to ourselves. We have this internal tape. We have this internal monologue. And that's the most powerful script we'll ever write, is the one up here. So I could never see the play not being a musical now. And the music is the piece that everyone loves. And I was blessed to get caught up with Drew and to be introduced to Drew. Because I think I told him this, if there was a songwriter who was like, oh, you've never written a song before, you haven't trained at Juilliard, and like, I'm not going to work with you. Drew works with really notable celebrity people that we hear on the radio. He was like, I would love to work with you. I'd love to work on this project. I would love to explore with you. You got this. He was so supportive. He was just so amazing. And I think that's why it's so important when you take those scary risks and you do those things, that you're not a loner, that you get great people around you to hold the space with you and help you. Because I told him, I think if at any point you said, this ain't going to work, I don't know if it would be a musical. I don't know if I would have gave up on myself. I don't know. But I love it. It's great. The music is really special to me and special to the play, and the audience loves it, which is great.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like the whole taking the bits and the process, and also be open, like you said, to the curiosity of things, right? Like, what is the missing part of this? And, and not shut things down, even if it's too scary or it's too big, but not shut things down, the possibility of creating something new, something different, something you have never done before. And, I want to wrap up with this like very important idea that, because I'm curating TEDx Huntington Beach, which Lisa is going to be one of the speakers. And I literally was thinking about it this morning, like, as I'm coaching the speakers, like, are you being of service to yourself, or are you being of service to the unique ideas that you are sharing to impact people, that's going to be a profound impact to people? Because if you are being of service to yourself, then it's about your turning point, then it's about your advice, then it's about your experience. But if you are being of service to the unique idea that you are teaching people to have a profound impact, it's going to be a whole new game. It's going to be totally different point of view. So I think it's important, like, when you want to realize, when you're putting things out there in the world, who are you being of service to? Like Lisa with her playwright, it is to her story. It is to her impact to the audience that she wants to create, the bridge that she's connecting with them. So that is like her purpose. So I think it's such a good reminder to ask yourself, who are you being of service to, or what are you being of service to, versus your turning point, which is needed, right? You need all those things to kind of put it in there, but just the place that you're coming from is going to make a whole lot of difference in creating a profound, lasting, and impactful something impactful that resonates, that touches people's hearts. So Lisa, I just want to say, thank you so much for your insight and for your courage, for your commitment, for your playfulness, for the openness in sharing yourself, sharing your words, your wisdom. And, just like Lisa said, you don't have to be like Taylor Swift level. It's just a matter of you having that dialogue and the things that you used to say and putting it out there. So Lisa, what's one final advice that you can give to people in making the dreams happen? Like, I think Lisa just revealed her age earlier on. So like, it's like way beyond the 20s, right? Way beyond, like, we're moms, we're like, what do you call people, like, we're not in the prime as in, in the 20s, but we're still in our prime. But it doesn't matter. So what age you're at, even you're 5 years old, 7 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old. So Lisa, what's your one biggest advice, in the next 20 seconds for people to take away from?
Yeah, you right here and now are absolutely enough. You have enough heart, you have enough soul, you have enough talent, you have enough skill, you have enough intelligence, you have enough beauty and brains and brawn and wit, and whatever you need to call upon, you have it. You don't need to go buy it. You don't need to go find it. You don't need to search outward for it. It's already within you. You're capable. You're able. Just go. We never regret action. We always regret inaction. You're already enough. Go today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Go today and start the process of who you want to be and what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. And just remember, if you're too big or too small for your britches, get another pants, okay?
Right.
It's gonna fit you exactly right in that moment. And you can have multiple different kind of pants, So
That's
don't
right.
worry about fitting it to that britches in that
It's the
moment.
closest
So thank
job
you
to
so
fit you. That's right.
That's right, exactly. So thank you so much, Lisa, for being here today. What a wonderful, exciting, and fun conversation. I hope that the audience who are watching get so much value from this, from the takeaway of going for your dreams, of your family, your kids, the impact it can have, and making a profound and lasting impact. Like Lisa was saying, it's about leaving your legacy, and it starts with having generosity and curiosity in going for your dreams. So thank you everybody for listening. This is your host, Dr. Izdiha Jamil. Until the next episode, remember, be brave, be bold in sharing your voices so that you can be seen, heard, and chosen as the go-to person in your field. Okay, Lisa, let's say bye to everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.